Are you your friend's friend?
That's when I experienced my first friendship heartbreak.
You may hardly find genuine friendships anymore. In a whole 365 days, I don't cross your mind. Parasitic friendships.
I feel like this is a guy think, am I being a bad friend? Is this really a friendship?
Their mindset has not grown. I can't. In your saddest of moments, you're not. They are not the ones you're calling. If you know you're not going to take my advice, don't ask me for advice. Don't.
Imagine, they carry my matter around the world.
The consistency and the quality of communication. Know your place in people's life and act accordingly.
It is what it is.
Hey guys, you're welcome back to the channel. It's Lifestyle with Hadassah and this is Esther Adeyemo. I'm Esther Adeyemo. If you're new here, hi, you're welcome to the channel. I really hope that you like my content and that you subscribe, join the family, hit that subscribe button. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always coming back to watch more videos. You can see how happy I am. You can see the smile on my face. I'm so excited to be doing this video with my friend Praise. We have been trying to do this for the longest time and I'm so glad that finally, on a day in 2025, we finally are getting around to do it. So this is El Praise. He's going to be introducing himself. We're going to be talking all things friendship. Trust me, Praise is an expert on friendship, so you really want to stick around for this. Okay, so Praise, you have the floor. Please go on and introduce yourself to my amazing family.
Okay, guys. My name is Praise Emeka Idika. I'm an architect. I'm a writer. I'm a lover of books. I'm a friendship enthusiast. I've been so fascinated by the topic for years now. I think that captures a lot of what I do. Also, I'm into construction project management, which is part of architecture anyway. But yeah, I think that covers what I do.
I've been telling Praise that when I ready to build my house, he will be the one to design it because the designs that this guy makes, like, they're mad. Like, they're actually so good. You guys should check him out. Of course, his handle will be in the description box, so do check him out. Just because you mentioned books, have you read Chimamanda's new book?
I was hoping you're not going to ask me about the book, but yes. I'm not done. I'm actually still reading. I think I'm in the Dream Count.
Thank you, Jesus. How did I just blank out? Yes, Dream Count. I've actually not read it yet, but I will. I actually like to take my time with Chimamanda's books. I may not read it immediately it comes out, but I definitely will. I'll definitely read it because I've heard so much about it. Well, how far are you enjoying it so far? Of course, I do.
I'm actually in the two. There are like 4 characters, 4 women.
Because I've heard a lot of reviews about it.
I did. So I don't know if I pronounced their name well, but you forgive me.
Yeah.
And it's Cora, it's Chamaka. So I mean, like the last lady who is Omologo, and I would just say the book kind of like captures a lot about women, what they pass through. And so I'm enjoying the book. It was just like Chimamanda's every of her books. It's quite big. So at some point I had to like take a break. It'd be like season 1 and season 2.
Yeah. I guess that was actually why I stopped reading a lot, because then in secondary school, like, I'll just be so lost in novel after novel after novel, and then my schoolwork is suffering. So it was like I had to force myself to fast from novels, and then I now took a break, or I just read once in a while on like how I used to read before, like, because I can be so lost in the books and I can be so invested. Like, there's this book I read that the ending was so sad. When I finished reading the book for like 1 week, I was so sad because I've become so invested in books. Yeah. But anyways, Praise is here. Do you remember how we met, by the way? We're going to be having an interesting conversation with you guys. We're talking about friendships, like all things friendships. Because like Praise said, he's a friendship enthusiast. But do you remember how we met? Or anything around regarding?
I think I shall remember that somebody formed a group chat. A mutual friend formed a group chat.
Okay.
Like 7 or 8 in that group chat, or 6. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I didn't remember the group chat part.
Are you serious?
I didn't remember this part, but I remember that he introduced Osha.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, he did. Now that you mentioned it, I actually remember.
Yeah. So that was. It's like talking.
Yeah, so I'm like friends with a mutual friend. Drew, really? Really? It's possible though. Maybe 2015, 2016, 2017, around that time. Because I know I was like on break from. I finished secondary school. I was waiting for university. That's true. So how has it been so far? Like, what would you say? Would you say I'm a good friend, or would you say I'm a bad friend?
So I'll give excuses for you. I mean, just like most medical students.
Wow.
There's a lot. This is the truth now. There's a lot on your plate.
Okay.
Being a medical student. But then I'm going to say that I'll give you a 5 over 5. Simply
Over 10.
because
5/5.
not over 10, 5 over 5. I mean, I'm grading with 5.3.
Oh.
Simply because you changed location, like you moved to another different country, and we're still able to maintain communication. I remember when you changed your Nigerian line and you sent me the new line, and you were like, "Hey, praise this man."
Really? I don't remember.
Wow, actually, I can't forget. Most people change. Most people japa in quotes, like you call it in Nigeria, and they just change their friends. Some people try. In fact, I'm at a place where I don't get offended again because as much as social media, you can always video call people and stuff. Sometimes you actually need physical friends, and so I feel like sometimes it's unfair. Sometimes it's unfair to expect people to maintain the same energy. So I've had cases where the person moves. First 2 years, we're still talking, and after some time, just disappears. And I know that sometimes abroad can be a lot for people. People go abroad and it's not so rosy and they just disappear. So, but with you'll be able to maintain that communication. It's not like it's only you, me,
You guys can be good friends.
Yeah, I've tried.
No, you actually. I'll just say a couple of things about praise. I feel like for the longest time, I had a different idea about friendships because I'm such a. If I'm your friend, I'm in your face. Like, and you need to be in my face too. So if I'm giving that energy and you're not giving me that energy back, I feel like I don't like this friendship, or I don't consider this as friendship. But I feel like with you, like being friends with you, that whole pressure was not there. And I see it in how we may go like, I don't know, 5 months without talking, and then I hit you up 5 months time, or you text me any of them, and we just kick off like time has not actually passed, and we're just checking in, just genuinely asking how each person is. And I really, really appreciate it because sometimes I feel guilty reaching out to people because I'm like, oh my god, so much time has passed. Like, how do I reach out to this person again after so long? Like, I just remember the out of the blue. Or with you, it's like you even appreciate it when, oh, you remember me today and you're so excited and so happy. Or like some people that will be like, oh, you finally remember. You finally remember me. So
what you're saying brings me to something very important. Very, very important. I always tell people, know your place in people's life and act accordingly. The truth is that there are different levels of friendship, and everybody cannot be at the same level. And so, but accepting where you are, not, it's how I put it. It takes two to tango. So you could decide that you want to make efforts to move your space up the ladder, for example, if I'll use that metaphor. But at the same time, you just need to know that because of certain reasons, you and certain people, for example, I do not expect a friend that is abroad to be texting me every 2 seconds. Our time zones are different. The fact that we're in different locations alone is a big deal. And so I feel like getting angry, but then somebody will say maybe I settled, but I feel like I'm being happy with my life. There are a lot of things that should, like, this country is a lot. Should not be angry that somebody. I feel like you should. I'm not saying you should collect the barest minimum, but there are certain relationships, connections that you should not throw away because of, for me, shenanigans.
Yeah, because that was one of the questions I was going to ask. The question was like, the fact that I think you kind of explained it, because I was not sure if it's just me thinking that way or it's actually a thing. Like, there can be different levels to friendship. So the fact that people don't talk every week or every month, but maybe after 2 months you guys catch up, or after 3 months you guys catch up, does that still qualify it to be a friendship, or are we going to say these people are acquaintances and they're not actually friends?
So I told somebody, I think it was earlier in the month, I was like, if me and you do not talk in a whole year, for me, if you don't talk in a whole year, we're not friends. And by a whole year, I mean really, even on your birthday and on my birthday, nobody is reaching out. Because in fact, the people who send you messages only on your birthday, sometimes those are the acquaintances. Then you do not even send in a whole 365 days. I don't cross your mind. And so if somebody is calling you twice in a week, so like I said, there are a lot of factors that come into this thing. I mean, if we're in the same city, for example, there is no reason why you would say you're my friend and then you're calling me once in a blue moon, or you're checking up on me once in a blue moon. It really does not make any sense. You get, I mean, I know you can be busy and stuff, but you always make out time. But 2 different countries, 2 different time zones. Yeah. So I feel like friendship is not defined by how regular the communication is, because you will notice that some of us get into school, You know, when we're kids, for example, every new school you enter, you
Mhm.
make a new friend, and you're like, "Mommy, meet my friend, meet my friend." But in reality, that person is not your friend. But you become friends
Yeah.
with them in quotes simply because you're speaking to them every time,
Oh,
you're seeing them every day. I do not think friendship is
yeah.
defined by how not how consistent. The word is how regular you talk. I think it's defined
Hmm.
by the consistency and the quality of communication. The
Do
consistency
you know this thing
and
you
the
said just makes
quality of
so much
communication.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah,
Consistency and quality of communication. Because I just remember there are people that I text like on a regular basis, but we're not friends. But
yeah.
because of my position in church, for instance, there are people that I have to like maybe check up on or follow up on or delegate tasks to all those things. But we're not actually friends, but we talk all the time. But what are we talking
And you
about?
can even hang out
Responsibility.
self. Well,
Like maybe a mutual friend is doing something and then all of us hang out. But this person is not my friend in that they don't really know what is up with me. Like they don't know when I'm
yeah.
down or when I'm up or all those things. I may not necessarily share my wins with them. Like yeah, so but even though we're share somehow in the same proximity, but we're not really friends like that. That's actually answered my question. Okay, who would you consider a good friend? Like who would you say who is a good friend?
Mm, so this question is kind of complex. But
Mm.
I would say a good friend is a person for simplicity's sake. I mean, explain, but I would say a good friend is a person who identifies with you in times of pain
Mm.
and in times of joy. The person is
Mm.
there. Okay, and that's where the quality of communication and the consistency comes in. Because I think a lot of people will agree to the fact that there are certain people that you it's either they always want to be around you when you're happy, or you just want
Mm.
them to be around when you're happy. In your saddest of
Mm.
moments, they are not the ones you're calling, because you know
Yeah.
they do not possess the kind of empathy that you would need at that time.
Mm.
And it's really a sad
Mm.
thing to find yourself, because I've heard people say stuff like, when this person wants to cry, when they serve them breakfast or something, you're the one they are coming to. But when they get a good
Yeah.
deal, they want to party, they are going to another set of people. I feel like a
Mm.
good friend is somebody who is there both in pain and in joy. For me, I
Mm.
feel like that's the definition. I think about the people now in my life that I would want to call good
Yeah.
friends, and there are people who have identified with me
In both times.
in every phase. Yeah.
That makes so much sense. But you know, like some people like to. I've heard people say that as well. That oh, they have friends for specific things. So if it's time to jaye, they
Mhm.
know who to call. If it's time to cry, they know who to call. If it's for business, they know who to call. So, I mean, do you think that also counts ish? Like maybe they are just different friends, but
Uh,
I'm friend
so
roles or
so like
something.
so when we use the word good, I'm trying to assume that we are using good friend to describe who an ideal friend is. And so
Okay.
I agree with people of that ideology. But I mean myself, I have people who I call when I want to work, when I'm talking business or chill.
Yeah.
I can't talk my faith with them.
Yeah.
There are people who my faith, but at the same time, the person I will call a good friend is somebody I can say everything with. And so those people are friends, obviously. But I won't in the context of this discussion, I won't call them a good friend.
Okay.
By good, I'm talking of
Friend.
the ideal
Okay.
friend. You won't,
Okay.
because the truth of the matter, when you look at it critically, you can't have. I do not think. Let me just say, I do not think you can have more than 3 to 5 ideal friends.
Mm.
The world is so busy. You can't. These are people that will prioritize you, and you as a person, take you as a person. How many persons can you prioritize in your life?
Yeah.
These are the kind of
True.
you hear stories of my friend got married and we stopped talking or something like that, and people mistaking it to be like, oh, she's married, I'm not married, that's why. But sometimes it's simply because of priority. She has prioritized her husband, prioritized her kids.
Yeah.
She has space for little to nobody, maybe 3 or 4 people. And so for me, that's the
Yeah.
ideal friend, because it's for me, that's just it. Because I look, for example, now, look at our parents. Our parents knew a lot of people, but as they age, you will notice that there was 1 or 2 people that were consistent in the picture.
Oh my god.
This
You know, I
ideal
was
friend
thinking
can even
about
be
this
their
thing.
cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually
This,
thinking about this thing because I heard somebody say something like kind of say like our parents don't really have friends or don't know how to have friends because when you look, it's like maybe it's just 1 or 2 people. But I was just like, I was actually thinking about it, but then when I think about it deeper, I'm like, but wait, how many friends will somebody actually have? Because you know how like you see people that have like big friendship groups, like there are people like that they have
Yeah.
big friendship groups. I actually look and I admire those
Most
groups,
most
but then
of
when I sit down,
yeah.
when I sit down and
Most
think, I'm
sorry,
like,
I'm
wait,
cutting
but
you.
could they
Yeah.
actually be that they're all close to each other? Because
No,
me, like some
no,
people said, I don't have big,
no.
large
The
friendship groups like that.
Yeah, the person said our parents do not have friends. I don't really agree. Most of our parents had,
Mm.
in quotes, friends. So our differentiation there's a friend, there's an ideal friend. So most of our parents had a lot of friends from work. These are people that, some of them, when our parents lost their parents, these people would travel miles for the burial.
Yeah.
10 years down the line, they are not in the picture. It does not mean that at that point in time they were not friends. It just means that this person is not the ideal friend, the person that ways through the storm with you, and it's totally fine. I personally do not think God created life for man to go through life alone. I feel like God ordained that we should relate to people. No man's an island. And so, but the problem is that people do not want to accept that there are levels to these things, and so you're seeking to be priority in everybody's life, and when they do not return the favor, you get angry. And don't get me wrong, I kind of understand them too, because the truth of the matter is that the reason why they are expecting such equal relationship is because in their own hearts they've placed those people there. So that comes to another question: are you your friend's friend? Are you your friend's friend? You can be friends with somebody and the person is not friends with you.
Like there was something you just said now about how, okay, for instance, our parents, maybe they lose a family member, like they lose their parents or something, and these friends travel all the way for this burial. Sometimes it's their friends from work, sometimes friends from church, but then like a few years down the line, those people are no longer in the picture. And then it just again highlighted how it's okay for people to be in your life for a particular season. And like again, like you said, like God did not create any man to be an island. So I believe that even God placing those people there could have been strategic for that time being, because he knew that, oh, these are the people that can be here for you in this time, so you don't have to go through it alone. So I mean, I guess it can be sad sometimes, but I think it's okay to let some friendships pass if they pass with time, and not feel like you don't have to feel bad, or I mean, you can remember it and just be thankful for the time, but not wallowing in sadness over the time.
So for me personally, I made up my mind that I would be grateful. And so even if there are certain people in my life who've made such an amazing impact, they've touched my life, even if we stop being friends, I would be grateful. I would always look for an opportunity to be a blessing to you. We do not have to stay friends, but and that's where I have problem with a lot of people. Some reasons friendship ends. Few years down the line, your life is way better than this person, and you do not make any effort to try and help them. Now, I've heard, I think it was a preacher, I can't remember who. The person was saying that if you change your level, your friends should change, blah blah blah. I do not think it should be taught. I feel like it happens naturally. There are certain space you walk into, and because you're in that environment, in that country, in that city, the people who will be closest to you will be the people there. But it's now wanting to treat the other people that, in quotes, you left behind with this thing. I feel like it's so unfair. So knowing that knowing that we were once close.
Yeah, I've heard people make that argument, and like they say things like, oh, 10 people cannot be friends for 10 years. But I think the issue many people have is, even though you remove them, because people like to use the example of, oh, if my level has changed, we're no longer on the same level, or maybe the way we think is now different, and whatever, which is fine. Like people can, like, I don't know, people can, for instance, let me use abroad for example. No, and I'm not going to use like just a random place in Nigeria, but let's say maybe two people that were like in the village in Nigeria, in a village, and then one of them goes abroad. Of course, you can make that argument and say, oh, this person is now more exposed, and they now have like maybe broader worldview more than this person that's still in the village. But I think the problem comes when you now start to treat that person in the village like somehow like they're a lower class citizen or something, like lower class person. Like, because again, there's a way you can even help to influence that person that makes them better. Like maybe you teach them
Yes.
something you learned or something instead of looking down on them and then making them feel like worthless because they did not go abroad with it. But yeah, that makes sense.
The issue is that people do not strike a balance. So ideally, I think when people
Mm.
say your level change, your friends change, what they are talking about is the truth of the matter is that I look back, there are certain people I knew 15, this way 25, certain people I knew say 10 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
their mindset has not grown. I can't have them as close friends now.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
but will
Yeah.
I throw them away? No. If you have the opportunity, you can try to help them become better.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
they refuse, you have to that one you tried. But outrightly saying
Uh-huh.
you push them away, new level, new you.
Yeah.
You are whether you like it or
Yeah.
not, you are somebody's former level.
Yeah.
Now
True.
imagine if
And
every
even this your new
person
level self is still
who has
somebody.
gone
Somebody's still ahead. Yeah. 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 Well,
exactly. When we're kids,
it
parents will say stuff like, when you go to school, make friends with the people who are intelligent and stuff. And then I always used to jokingly ask, who will make friends with those that don't know book?
I
Do you think that
want
those we that know book, because me, I know book, please, I know book. Do you think that we that know book wants to be friends with those that don't know book?
people that
So, and that's where we now talk about parasitic friendships, relationships that are
yeah.
just for gain.
That's actually another thing today. I feel like some people actually just try to shoot shots to be friends with people for the gain of what they can get from that friendship. Like it's weird, but it is what it is.
I was asked to speak at a birthday brunch, and I was asked to talk about friendship. And I remember
Mm.
I was talking to them about the fact that the age we are getting into now, you may hardly find genuine friendships anymore. Most of the friends that you've made in your teenage years are the people that you end up carrying. By teenage years, I'm including your years in university, as you may be. These are
Yeah.
people that you may end up carrying throughout your life. Except obviously your partner. Your partner becomes, you get married, your partner becomes your friend, something like that. Because early adulthood, people are not really looking for friendships. People are looking for
Everybody hustling.
connections. And so now friendships are
True.
now anchored on factors like where you work, how much you earn. And so you notice that because you earn a certain amount, you attend certain events, and those are the kind of people you have in your circle. And those are the kind of people you make friends with.
Even
What
this where
church
you
you
work,
attend,
the people that
social
you're making friends
gatherings.
with, even the
The
way you work,
friendships
you're making
now are
friends with,
now
are
nobody's
friends.
that was safety. So nobody's becoming your friend simply because you people sat together in class, or you give them a pencil, or you shared your lunch with them one time, or you bought them pure water. They will tell you thank you, but they are not your friends. And so it's a little bit more difficult to make friends at this stage of our lives. But yeah, it's not impossible. But
I wanted to ask. Yeah, I was going to ask because I realized that now friendship has to be strategic. Like you have to. So there's somebody I used to call my work bestie, although she left my workplace, but we still talk. But it was just a very strategic thing. I just approached her, I was like, "Oh hi, what's your name?" And then she told me, "Oh, how long have you been working here?" And then before you know it, oh, the shift was over. Are you going home? Yeah, which area? I'm going here. Oh, I'm also going there. And before you know it, from there we started going home together, like every time after work. And then regularly, like when we don't have work, we'll check in on each other. Now she has moved to a different workplace, but we still like checking on each other. So, but I was just thinking about like every time I used to see her, I used to be like, I don't know, I was just intrigued with her. So, but I was just thinking about it. Imagine if we actually never spoke, if I never actually spoke to her, like the whole friendship thing would have actually never even started. So now, like, friendship has to be very strategic. And if you want to actually, because even that whole thing could have actually ended the moment she left my workplace. But she was like, yeah, no, we're friends for life. and so somehow we just
you have to be intentional.
Yeah, you have to. Very intentional. Because this work friendship thing is another thing that me for a long time I did not used to consider people at work as friends. Like even this person I'm talking about, it took a while for me to now start saying, okay, this is my friend. Because then I used to feel like everything was just very transactional. What we talk about work related things. It was with time that we now started talking about other things, and then I was like, okay, a friendship can actually come out of this. Yeah, but again, just round up something I had said in the beginning. Like, thank you for what you said, because it actually validated my feeling, basically, or my thoughts. Speaking of, many times you have to consider the factors involved in why the friendship may not be so like. And again, what you said about is not the frequency of the communication, but the consistency and the quality of it. Because actually now I think, and there are certain friends in my life that we may not talk for maybe 1 month or 2 months. There was a time, of course, we used to talk very regularly, but now because everybody's busy, not just me, they're also busy. But we schedule time, we call, and we catch up. And if somebody needs help, like if I need help, I know that I can easily reach out to this person and say, "Oh, I need help with this," and they can also do the same for me. So sometimes I just wonder, like, am I being a friend? Is this really a friendship? But that was actually very validating, because if I'm actually to call my friends, I'll actually call these people. So it was consoling to hear that.
I so but I need to establish something. I think people are at liberty to define what they call friendships to themselves. So if somebody says, "I need you to be calling me 20 times in a day," and that's to them, that's friendship. It's to them. It now depends on you if you have the liberty of time to do the 20 times in a day communications. I don't know if I'm making sense. That's why I said, for me, the ideal friend is somebody you have that connection already. There's a mutual definition of what we term as friendship. You know, there are certain friends that I have that are amazing people, but I can't talk to them about certain things. Simply because in my head, I feel like they do not have the capacity to carry such a burden.
I feel like it's a guy thing, because I've heard one of my other guy friends say the same thing. Yeah, I think it's a guy thing.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not saying maybe it's also a girl thing. I don't know. But me, I think the thing with me is I don't really like. I don't know how to share the same thing with a lot of people. If I normally if I speak to one person, I'm not speaking about that thing again. Except maybe somebody else now asks me about it. And even if I'm even giving that person the details, I may not give you 100% details, because I'm just vomit everything and just leave it and move on. So maybe I don't know. Maybe that's different or something. But I've heard this thing. I've heard a guy to say that.
I think the only reason why I would want to share something with multiple people is simply because I'm looking for advice. I'm looking for opinions. So that leads me to another thing. You see all those friends that you give advice, they can't do what's in their mind. Don't stress me. That used to annoy me. It used to piss me off. Like, what's your problem, bro? If you know you're not going to take my advice, don't ask me for advice. Don't. I mean, I'm not unwise. I'm very intelligent. This thing I said leads me to something else. So someone, it's I think like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, someone told me that the best kind of friends in your early adulthood to have are older friends. And there's a story in the Bible that illustrates. There's a story in the Bible that illustrates it. You should know the guy, Solomon's son. I've forgotten that his name. And the older people told him, do this, do that. The younger people were like, show them shege, press them.
Yeah.
Don't allow them to breathe. I think you have that responsibility. Yeah, real.
Yeah.
And so the person was like, in your early adulthood, you should have older friends. And I think the sole purpose of that is simply because most times people our age may not have the kind of understanding that we need. You get.
True.
Sometimes, I say sometimes because I look at things from an older perspective many times, but so ideally, just because there are certain people in our age brackets, early adulthood or mid adulthood, and whatever they are suffering in their lives now is simply because of the circle of friends they have, which are a group of young people like them who lack foresight and cannot see the future. So but about what you said about maintaining friendships for long, ideally I think for maintaining friendships for long, I think my oldest friendship now should be maybe 15 years. 15 years.
Mine is 25. No, mine is 27.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm not.
I sadly most of my primary school classmates, I don't have their contacts, so I've not one. So
the
person I'm
we're born at the same time. So somehow, because the family is still like, we're still friends, we're still family friends. So
Yeah.
somehow the friendship has.
So my oldest friendship is probably 15. That's when I can remember counting, knowing this person. And
Yeah.
the person is in the US now. But I think
Wow.
what has kept us friends, the person has been in the US since like 2014. Oh. It's
Wow.
only me that refused to japa. God help me.
Yeah.
So, but I think what has kept us as friends is simply because of the effort. So obviously the person is not my closest friend at the moment. Obviously the person is not.
Okay.
But we
Because
managed
the
to
thing
be
you said
friends
about having
simply because
physical
we made
friends
efforts
is
to.
very important.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's very important.
Yes.
Physical friends always overshadow that long distance. So, but we've been able to
Yeah.
be friends simply because we made efforts. We made efforts to stay in communication. I remember the first time I found the person on Facebook. I was mind blown because as I went, we were friends. Many people did not even have. What was? I think people used to go to cyber cafe to do Facebook there, and we were kids. By the time we became,
Yeah.
I just found a person on Facebook. We exchanged contact, and since then we stayed in communication. I remember one day me and the person were talking, and before we jumped on that call, the person's mom was speaking to them, and the mom was like, you still talk with praise, like the person should be getting married soon, Seth. So
Oh
I
wow.
feel like making efforts, being intentional about it, because the truth is that once you stop communicating, the friendship dies. And in so many people's cases, they try to make an effort, but the person they are talking to is not making efforts, and so they just let it be. Yeah, it takes two to tango. So the two of you must make
Yeah,
conscious
true.
efforts. But dealing with long distance friendship, first of all, you must accept the fact that at some points in time, so long people are not coming to the same location, at some point in time, this person will have physical friends. It's very important for their own mental health. If the person is sick, you're not flying from America to Nigeria to take care of them. It's the friends that are physically there that will take care of them.
Yeah.
And so you would have to accept that. But then, like I said, the quality of communication, the quality, for example, hey, I'm busy, our time zone is different, can we talk tomorrow? And when we talk tomorrow, we're talking for 3, 4, 5 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, that long. You would know that this person is important to you. It's not the one that, I'm busy. You've done I'm busy for like 7 days in a week, and you're expecting the friendship to stay. I don't think it works that way.
True. Okay. All right. So there's something I think this will be the last thing before I wrap up.
Before you move on, I think it's important for me to identify the fact that one of the biggest bonds, one of the biggest super glue for those who grew up in Nigeria, one of the biggest bonds of friendship is sacrifice. Some of my deepest friendships now are friendships that at some point or the other they've sacrificed. And sometimes you have to be the one that will sacrifice first. And sometimes I even prefer being the one to sacrifice first, so that when you don't reciprocate, I'll take a step back. But imagine you sacrifice for a friend in one way or the other, they are grateful and they do the same thing for you. But my closest friends now, this is how it was built. They did certain things. I was like, oh my god, this person can do such a thing to me, for me. And then I go ahead to do the same or similar, and for me that's how it works. So if you're hoping to build quality friendships in adulthood, you must be willing to sacrifice. You must be willing to sacrifice and be quick enough to take a step back once it's not reciprocated.
I hope you guys are jotting all these things down. After this conversation, I'll rewatch it again and take down points. Okay, well, the last thing I wanted us to talk about. So I had mentioned like large groups of friends earlier in the conversation. I just wanted to bring it up. Like, I see large groups of friends or large groups of people, friendships, and it blows my mind because I don't think that's the kind of person I am. I'm such a 2, 3, 5 person, like 5 friends person. Like, I don't know how to have a lot of friends, and the funny thing is that I can actually be very friendly. Like, I'm so outgoing and all of that. I can show up for people if you need me to show up. But when it comes down to it, I maybe consider just like 5 people or 3 people my friends, And why do I consider this to be my friends? Because these are people that actually know what is up in my life. Like just like what you said, like I may see, maybe I should know. No, let me not say friends. Let me say my closest friends. Like maybe like 3 people as my closest friends. Then maybe like I don't know, maybe like 10 I can say my friends, and then the other people are just acquaintances. Well, these 3 people that are very close to me will probably be the ones that know the nitty-gritty of my life, like what is going on and all of that, and people that I want to share everything with. The thing now is sometimes I look and I see people like they have such large groups of friends, and I'm just like, are these people actually friends? Because let me tell you why. Because for like sometimes I actually think about it, and you know this whole FOMO thing of like fear of missing out. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I should have more friends. Like, why don't I have so many friends? Why don't I have a lot of friends like this person? Or like when I see other friendship groups, they can look nice like from the outside. But the few times that I've heard like 1 or 2 things that are happening among those friends, I'm just like, I beg. Is this what these people are doing? I don't like maybe I hear in that friendship group 2 people are treating somebody badly. And so in my head, I'm just like, okay, well, why is this person now still being friends with these people? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So sometimes when I just hear things like that, those are things that also kind of make me just like deter me and just make me feel like, oh, let me just stay with my 2 friends like this. At least I know that these 2 people shall have my back. Not the one that somebody's making me feel some kind of way. So, but what do you think about it? Because I feel like somehow we have been shamed to feel like if you don't have a lot of friends, then something is wrong. Like you need to have friends. But I also think it's okay to say I have just 2 friends, and that is fine. Like I think it's still okay. Well, what do you think about it, Sha?
So, for those who are Christians, they know about Jesus and the disciples. Jesus had 12 disciples. The 12 disciples were not the only disciples that Jesus had. There were a number of other people that followed Jesus, but they were not part of the 12 disciples. Inside the 12, Jesus had, he would always carry
Like
Peter, John, and James, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He always carried this.
I mean, now,
And for me, that's the logic with friendships of disciples.
Thank you very much for this. Thank you very much for this point. Like it actually just made so much sense to me. Yeah, please continue.
So to me, that's the logic. That's the logic behind big circle of friends. Inside that circle, there are 6 circles. I stand by what I said. I do not think it can be close to more than 3 to 5 persons. Close. People who, by calling them your friends, they make you priority. I do not think it's possible. But can you have 10 people who will show up for you in times of need? Obviously, yes. And that's with Jesus' story, you can just identify. The 12 disciples went on to carry his message. They went on, they dined with him, they talked about some of the deepest, like the transfiguration. Even when he said, pray at Gethsemane and stuff. You know, if you read your Bible, I stand corrected.
You're correct. Yes.
He took the disciples, then at the point he carried only those 3 and said, follow me.
Exactly.
For me, it's an illustration of what our lives is. It doesn't mean that those people are not friends, but if you want to be happy, because at the end of the day, you find out that you're with 12 people, you do not take out your time to be close to or make efforts to be close to 3, and you end up having nothing. And you're like, everybody does not care about me, everybody, but the truth is that among that 12, you're not giving your 100% to the 12. And so to the 12, you're not the close friend. You're not giving, but Jesus bringing out James, Peter, and John, he gave them his 100%. He showed that he meant more. And they themselves, the relationship was bilateral. You know, that's one of the reasons, apart from people who say that Peter had anger issues or whatever. But that's why Peter, even though the devil was speaking through him, would say, you will not die. Why will you die? Because he had a closer relationship with Jesus. That's why when they came to arrest Jesus, Papa still brought out his sword. Was like, the other 12 could not fight. You can argue that Peter was not even a fighter. He was a fisherman. But he loved Jesus so much that, I mean, and ideally, these your closest friends are not the people that will betray you. Judas was not part of the 3. But then people have had very sad experiences, and I think it's important for us to talk about it. Some people have had sad experiences where their closest friends, where the people gave them the heaviest blow. For myself, for example, I had a mentor who was so close. And then friendship breakup was painful. And then
Yeah.
one thing led to one thing, our friendship ended. And it broke me. That was my first breakfast. My first breakfast is not called for relationship, it was friendship. It broke me, it shook something in me. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Hi.
Today, I would say me and the person, we have like a good relationship. I can always text them and they would reply. But we're not friends. And to even make it worse, we're at different stages of our life, different location. A lot has changed. But then, all I would say is do not let friendship heartbreak make you miss out on good friends. You're not meant to do life alone. Another thing I needed to point out is the group of people who enter relationships and they cut out all their friends. It's almost like, personally, I believe that there's relationship as per your partner and there's friendship. One is not meant to replace the other. Personally, I don't think one is meant to replace. Obviously, your partner should be your friend, your best friend. But your friend, you still need your friends. You still need your friends because the days when it will go south, it's those friends that are going to come and help. They are the ones that are going to stick closer than a brother. In fact, personally, I think those people who get so obsessed with their partner are people who lack, you check well, I'm just saying, no shots fired. There are people who lack quality friendships. If you have quality, healthy friendships, you don't get obsessed with somebody else in a relationship. It doesn't work.
So it's
And
good
then
for both. It's actually
Anybody,
for both of you.
yes. And then I would say this last thing, which I think is really important. I think it has been said before, but I'll just say it again for whoever is watching this podcast or this video. Sorry, he needs to hear it. Any relationship that is taking you away from your friends is a time bomb waiting to explode. If the person comes into your life and all of a sudden they are telling you everybody, all your friends are bad people, you've entered one chance. Oshodi. You see shaky.
True. They just want to isolate you so that you cannot have anybody in your corner again. Yeah, and then they will now still keep their own friends though, but you'll not be alone. Like, I beg. But yeah, I think one other thing I got from this thing you said about the story of Jesus, it's very important to be intentional to find those 3 people that you want to actually invest more in so that they can invest more in you. So that it's not like you're with 12 people but you're alone. Yeah, that makes sense actually. Thank you so much, Mr. Praise, for your words of wisdom. I'm so glad that finally we got to do this video before Jesus came back again, because I've been saying this thing for like how many years now. But thank you so much. I'm so glad and so grateful for you for making out time from your busy schedule to come and educate us. I'm sure that everybody that has watched has benefited from this video, because I personally have benefited. Do you have any final words before we wrap up?
I'll just say we're all learning. I feel like life is a continuous process of learning. We're all learning. Don't allow your pain define you. So if you may hurt my friendships, don't allow it to define you. And please don't try to do life alone. So people think it's a bragging right. I don't have any friends, so nobody's my friend. It's not. In this life, my person they help person. It's somebody that will always hold your hand so much. So I'm really happy we got to have this conversation. It's been a long time coming.
Yes.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that it finally happened.
Thank you. I think at this stage of my life, I'm trying to be more deliberate about investing in female friendships, just because obviously you said about don't allow your heart to determine your life and stuff. Because my best friend is
Sorry, I'm cutting you.
Continue. When you finish what you're saying.
Okay. I was going to say that about the older you become, you discover that at some point the best kind of friendships you can have at that stage are friendships of the same sex. It's just the truth.
Maybe that's why
friendships of the opposite is the truth. I think of some of my female friends, and a number of them are getting married. And once they get married, you have to take a step back. The friendship is dying, and at the end of the day, we just end up being acquaintance. I'm sure a time will come, we'll be like, please, my child is looking for admission. Do you have connection in that school? That's the only time we'll be talking. And it's totally fine. It's fine. It's very fine. People should get used to it. Your friend gets married, they get into a serious relationship, you take a step back. That's why it will now be important to invest in friendships with the same sex, because supposedly marriage should not stop your friendship with the same sex. No, marriage should not, because I understand when people say, okay, if you're married, don't make friends with people that are married, but the truth is that you know your friends are not foolish. So because they are married does not mean they are going to give you bad advice. So I think at this stage of our lives, it's important to invest more in friendships with the same sex.
Even if they don't give you bad advice, you shall know your friend. So you know the one that if I want bad advice, I will go to this one. If I want good advice, I know this one I will give you. I just want to be official. I know who to go.
Somebody will listen to this and be like, "Hey, why you keeping friends with somebody that give back?" But every one of us has that one friend that
I don't know.
when they talk, you just like, this one. No.
Or even when sometimes you want to do something that you know you're not supposed to do, but you know the friend that you will go to that will encourage you. You know the one that you go to that will discourage you. So sometimes maybe because you just want as per let somebody just say yes, what I want to do because that's what I've determined to do in your heart, and then you just but in primary school, that's when I experienced my first friendship heartbreak, and it was from my best friend, which was a girl, and that thing scarred me so much so that anything best friend, I was like, I don't have, I'm not interested. So when I now started actively making friends, a lot of my friends were male friends. Like I don't want to have any female friends because I'm like, girls can talk too much, they're too dramatic, they're this. I know, like when I'll have girls as friends, but I'll just always keep them at arm's length. I'll not let them get too close. So all my problems, I'll be telling it to my male friends. I'm not telling the female friend because I don't want to carry my problem and go and tell somebody else. To even make it worse, somebody in this country, Georgia, did the same thing to me. Like imagine, me that was saying, oh, now I want to start getting closer to girls. I want to start opening up. I carry my wahala to somebody in this country. Now so they carry my matter around the world. So after that one happened, like maybe that was in 2021. It's just 4 years ago. So when that one happened again, I took a step back again. Like anything female friendship counts me out. We'll be doing the friendship from a distance. But again, I'm just getting to a point in my life again where I'm considering giving it a shot again, and I'm like, okay, I'm now being a bit more deliberate with female friendship. So it has honestly become a prayer point. I'm like, God, please guide me to make the right friends, to get close to the right people, not the people that will shatter my heart, because this has already happened twice. I don't think I can survive another one. That will be the end. So, but yeah, that thing you said, like, I guess it makes sense because I'm getting older too. Like, yeah, I guess it makes sense because many times now when it comes to like girls in my life that are very close to me, they are closest to me, they are my sisters. So if there's anything I want to talk about, they are the ones I will talk about most of the time. But I also don't think it's bad to have other people, because when I think about it, I'm like, when I'm doing my wedding, it's the only men that will be on my train. I need other girls too now. I'll be only men and my sisters.
I have my reservations on that one. I can't even stand a man on my wife's train. I'm like, okay, what I did? Come on, big what there?
No, I'm actually not interested in guys being on my train. I don't want men on my train. Well, it's just because when I think about it, after my sisters, my closest friends are mostly guys. So I'm just like, no, I need to actually get more female friends on my corner. So, well, yeah, this has been a good conversation. Thank you so much for making our time. Yeah, it was eye-opening. I learned a lot, and I'm going to jot down all these things. So, thank you so much. I hope to have you again on channel. Hopefully, by God's grace, it will be in person and not like over the camera like this time, over the laptop or whatever. Hopefully, it will be in person.
Amen. Online.
Yeah, not online anymore. Amen. You guys should follow him, like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that. He does amazing posts on Instagram. He talks about friendships and different things. And there's something he does on his Instagram, Friendship 101, right? That's what it's called. Yeah, Friendship 101. So follow him. The link will be in the description box and learn a lot. And yeah, thank you, praise, and stay healthy and stay safe until we see you again. Please tell my people bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
All right.
Ciao.
Bye.